computer. And now you can record. Gewalt. Okay, so Chevra, very, very pumped. We're gonna get a little Purim preparation in. So I'm drawing this obviously it's from different places and stuff, but Beikaron, Reb Itche Mayer has these little pamphlets that are put out by one of his talmidim, and they're called BaYam Darkecha, and they're really beautiful. They're nice pamphlets, and so we're kind of going to use that as probably the main basis for the ideas that we're going to talk about over here. Reb Itche Mayer, when he talks Torah, especially in these things, they're basically taken from the Shara Kavanos of the Arizal. So this is like the Kavanot of the Arizal preparing us for Purim. Ah, let's start slow. Let's start slow so we can work our way in. What is Purim, right? What is this incredible Yom Tif? So there's something really unique and special about this Yom Tif, because this Yom Tif is the Yom Tif that's known as the one Yom Tif that even when Mashiach comes, it's mamish going to still be around. So there's something about the awareness that's coming in, right? Obviously, we have crazy awareness when it comes Pesach and Sukkot and Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, but there's something special about the awareness of Purim that is like next level. That's going to make it that even when all the other Yom Tovim at the end of time are going to be taken away, this one's still going to be around. All right, that's one thing. Another interesting point is that the Hasidim, I believe, are the ones that originally coined it. They said that Purim is mamish the highest. It's even higher than Yom Kippur, because Yom Kippur is called Yom Kippurim, the day like Purim. And that's just crazy, Doc, seemingly at first. But then we stop and we go, there really is something wild, and special. And when we learn the Svarim, we see like Purim is nuts. So let's try to tap in a little bit. What is this consciousness? What is this awareness of Purim that is so beyond and so special? So there's a few different places we can start, but what do parents always ask their kids before Purim? What's the question that every Abba and every Ima asks their children? What do you want to dress up for on Purim? Right? What costume do you want to put on? Because it's an exciting time. Everybody wants to get dressed up. But we should know that this question is mamish so deep. So deep. What are you going to dress up? What costume are you going to wear? And there's so much talk about the costumes, the idea of masks. But one of the ideas that we can open up is we know where this world started. It started with one God, started with Echad. And we know where this world's going. V'haya Hashem lemelech hakol haaretz b'yemu yeh Hashem echad u'shmo echad. Everything's going to be one at the beginning and one at the end. The only place that we're not sure exactly how things are going to happen is now. And so, Chevra, if you know where this is going and you know where it came from, so the one question you have to ask yourself is, so who are you dressing up like? Because it's all going to where it needs to go. Everything's going to be taken care of the way it needs to be taken care of. The question is what role are we going to play? And the truth is, we mamish see this in the story of the Megillah. The Megillah itself, Mordechai turns to Esther and he says to her, he says, "Nu, Esther, I want you to know that we mamish need your help. You mamish got to go sacrifice your life." But what does he then say? He goes, "But you should know if you don't want to do it, Revach v'atzala yamoy layudim mimakoyim acher v'yatu v'esav yichtayveinu miyodeya im lo eis kazo isigat la malchus." Right? And what a crazy thing. You're going to turn to somebody you're trying to convince, you're the man, we need you for the job. And then he just goes, by the way, if for some reason you don't want to do it, we're going to be fine. Like, we don't need you, but it's you who's going to be judged by whether you get involved. And that's really crazy. That's really crazy. I'm going to fix this light. It's a little bright over here. That's a little better. A little more cozy. Right? So what a crazy zach. What a absolutely crazy zach that we're turning and we're saying, Gewalt. Like, this is your opportunity to get involved. This is your opportunity to get involved in the story, but you should know that everything's going to be fine without you. And I think that this is mamish, the entry and the side of Purim, because really what we're beginning to see in Purim is that every little thing is run by Hashem. The Giloy of Purim, the revelation of Purim, is that there's no thing that's ever happened, that ever will happen, that is not straight from Hashem. It's all mamash alakus. Every little thing. And that's what mamash we have to chat. The one question is what are we dressing up like? And that's a crazy thing. It's a really crazy thing. You know, when we come to read the Megillah itself doesn't have Hashem's name in it. Not once, not from the beginning to the end. But if you ask anybody who reads the Megillah, is Hashem in the story? Every single Yidla will tell you Hashem is mamish in the story from the beginning until the end. There's mamish not one word. There's not one pasuk. There's not one moment. There's not one character that Hashem isn't involved with. And that's the story of Purim. That's the story that we're trying. That's the consciousness that is being misgala on Purim. That every single thing is just Hashem. And the truth is that this type of idea is so dangerous. It's so dangerous that people might stop doing everything that they're supposed to do. If you wanted to live with this consciousness, you wouldn't do anything because you'd realize, what am I even doing? So we can't live like this. The whole year, even if you tap into this type of consciousness in your mind, you don't act like this. You are responsible and you are told to go and to make healthy decisions according to the rules of the game that we're playing. Every day of the year, you have to make decisions on how you're going to spend your time, decisions on how you're going to spend your money, decisions on what you're going to do with your free choice. But when it comes Purim, we mamish let go and we say, Hashem, it's not about my free choice. It always was you. It is you. It will be you. I'm somech alecha. I'm throwing myself into your hands and I'm going to let go. And I'm mamish going to know that the Megillah mamish comes from Megillas Esther, means to be Megala, the Hastara, to reveal all the hidden things, all the hiding that anyone's doing in the Megillah, all the hidings that Hashem is doing, we're being Megala at all. And every one of us turns and then we say, Hashem, I'm here. The question is, what am I dressing up as? And that's really the choice. The choice that we're going to give ourselves, the choice that Hashem gives us is, how do you want to be involved in the story? Where do you want to play? What's it going to look like? And you should know, I'm sure Reb Leibish probably said it in one of the other shiurim, because I've quoted this. I heard this from him 2 nights ago, and I've probably quoted it already 8 times. But Reb Leibish said over from a Rebbe, I don't know which Rebbe, he said, Ashrei ish sheyishma mitzvah. Praised is the man that listens to your mitzvahs. What about? What's the deeper meaning? Not just the one who listens to your mitzvahs, but Ashrei ish, praised is the man sheyishma mitzvah. That when he listens, he's listening to the experience of his own self doing the mitzvahs. That when you're doing an action, when you're learning Torah, when you're davening, when you're saying Kriya Shema, when you're putting on tefillin, you listen to, what is this experience doing to me? Right? When you actually deep listen to what's happening to me, right? You listen to yourself. What's going on inside of me? And when we do mitzvos and we can deeply listen to ourselves, we can listen to what's going on inside of us. Gewalt, that's when all the olamot open up, like on the craziest level. Mamash. Ashrei ishe yishma lemitzvosecha. Wow, how lucky is the man? How praised is the man?
Where is that from?
It's a pasuk that we say. I believe we say it in morning davening by Ezra Savisenu. The last like paragraph right before Shmona Esrei. I'm mistaken. I mean, if I would say,
That's
I could.
wonderful.
Isn't that beautiful? Mamish, or beautiful, straight from Reb Leibish. And Mamish was so nispal from this because so much of what I find myself talking about these days is allowing the experience to transform you. there are some people you talk to them and you say, well, what are you doing in this world? They go, Rabbi Nachman even said it. He said, Mamish, this world is Mamish Gehenim. He says, Eilam Haza, I don't know what good Eilam Haza is. Baruch Hashem, we live in a beautiful world these days, and we have running water and bathrooms that we can go in and flush the toilet. I mean, that's one of the most incredible gifts. Showers. I don't know if I've ever shared with you, but every time I take a shower, I'm so blown away, or almost every time. The ability to turn on hot water, to choose the exact temperature that you want, to have it cascade over your body and with a strong pressure and be able to wash yourself. I mean, this is a pleasure that most people in history never had. And we're living in crazy times. But Lamaisa, there's still an incredible amount of pain. The amount of pain in the world that the world has seen is overwhelming when we really begin to think about it. If you ask most people, they'll say, what if I could offer you right now, just sign on the dotted line and you'll just mamish, you'll have olam haba as if you did a full lifetime of Torah and mitzvahs. So many people would be like, okay, sign me up. But however, that's not what it's about. It's not about just doing it and being yotze. We are beings of experience. We are higher elevated beings that are put there right now, are functioning through a physical body in a physical form. And as we're functioning in this physical body, we have the ability to choose our experience. There's a unique ability, by being in this body. The fact that we're in a human form gives us the unique ability to tune into and to choose how we want to experience reality. Some choices that we can make in this world that we would not be able to make in any of the other worlds. Angels can't make the decisions that we make. And so we say, okay, you could just, do mitzvahs. It's not just about doing the mitzvahs. It's about when you make the choice, what happens to you? How do you transform your essential being? How does your awareness change, right? Your awareness is really the real part of you, the essence of you. How does your experience, the part of you that experiences, how does that change through your choices? I mentioned to a friend of mine, I said, there's two ways that you can, some people they ask, if I have an hour and I'm choosing, should I spend it learning Torah, davening, talking to a friend, working, right? And people will go, oh, which one's more important? And the wonders of Zoom at home. So, 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 Mamish, like, if you ask what's the most important thing to do, what if I told you that the most important decision that you make when faced with a question is not about the actual decision that you make, but the most important thing that you're facing is whether or not you're going to make that decision with Hashem in your consciousness. However, that's Purim. Purim, it's like whatever decision you make, that's fine. We're going to get to where we need to get to. You want to know, should I spend this mamish learning Torah or doing my job? I don't know what you should do. Make your decision and whatever you want. But just know that Hashem is the one who's making everything happen. The one decision that you have is, are you going to share this moment with Hashem in your awareness? Are you going to bring Hashem into your consciousness? Is this experience going to be something different? Is it going to change you? Are you going to listen to the experience that you're having right now and allow it to change you? Allow it to become something different. When you make Kiddush Friday night, are you just being Yotze another mitzvah? Or when you make it, does it change the experience that you're having and open you up to experiencing Hashem? Because that's what our Olam Haba is not going to be like an escape from all of our pain and an escape from ourselves. You know, how many people think that Olam Haba, I'm going to be able to leave myself behind? But you're you. You just happen to be shoved. It's like I love to do it with my chabura. Sometimes I put my foot on the table and be like, imagine if my foot was trying to experience reality just through a shoe, and it's like, it's limited because you can't get a full toe wriggle. Maybe, depending on if it's a dress shoe, it might not be the most comfortable thing, but that's what we are. We are a being of awareness that is shoved into a physical body. So right now, the way that our experience is coming through to us is through the shoe, is through the body. But Kavat, we're mamish a being, We're mamish a being of awareness, a being of experience. And we need to experience things. We need to experience a Shabbos and allow that experience to transform us. We need to experience Torah and allow that experience to change us into something else. And then when we come up to Olam Haba, we'll be able to have those choices that we made because we'll have built a relationship with those things. And then that relationship that we have with Hashem will be an eternal relationship. The Ramchal goes as far as to say is that somebody who doesn't develop a taste for spiritual pleasure, when he comes up to Shemayim, he's mamash not going to know what to do. He's going to be like, it's like, somebody who doesn't, if you don't develop a taste for wine, like it takes time to develop a good taste for wine or for beers or for anything with subtleties in it. And the more that you develop your taste, the more that you enjoy the fine tastes and pleasures of this world. But if we don't, we're mamash just like not going to be, what are we doing? Gewalt. This is Purim. This is Purim. Purim is where we mamish open up and we experience on such a high level. We experience this reality of Hashem. We experience this reality of Hashem that this experience of reality with Hashem that is not limited to whether I think something is right or wrong, whether it makes sense, whether we judge it for good or for bad. On Purim, we stop all that and we go, I don't know. I go to a place of Ad Lo Yada that I don't know because I realize that Hashem is so much bigger. He's mamish been there in every aspect of the story. And when you look at the story, a story is only as good as the hero and the villain. If you don't have a good villain in the story just doesn't work. So who's bigger, Mordecai or Haman? Who's more important to the story? Everybody's important to the story. Anybody who's willing to play a role is essential to the story. And that's Mamish Purim. You know, sometimes we have moments, right? Imagine if I divided all the moments that you're going to have in your life into two groups of moments. We'll call them good moments and bad moments. When you bump into a good moment, so depends who you ask what a good moment is. But let's say we ask Yehuda Reis. Say Yehuda Reis, what's a good moment? Good moment. A good moment is being aligned with Hashem's Ratzon, Mamash. And then you say, so Yehuda, what about a bad moment? What happens in a bad moment? And I'll say, well, a bad moment is one of those moments that they bite. I'm doing the wrong thing. Quite embarrassed of those bad moments. And so you ask me, you say, Yehuda, if you were the judge of those bad moments, if you were the judge of the world, if you were God, what would you do with all those bad moments? And I would say, I would destroy those bad moments. I'd mamish throw those moments into the deepest, darkest pit, and I would never want to see them again. So nobody would ever see the embarrassment of those bad moments. And at that moment, you say, so you think you're smarter than God? I don't think I'm smarter than God. So we say, Hashem, wait, you know that there's something more valuable to this moment, more than what I'm doing with this moment? Let's get into this. When I look at a moment, I say, what's good? A good moment is a moment that I'm doing something good. But a moment that I'm not doing the right thing. So what's left of that moment? What's left of that moment is the experience of that moment. Just the fact that it exists. And at that moment, I say, Baruch Dayan Ha'emes. Blessed is the true judge who knows really how to judge moments. He doesn't just judge moments by what we do, but he judges moments by a deeper value. And he sees that there's a worthwhile point to that moment's existence, even when I'm not doing the right thing. And Hashem said, I value this moment. And so what's left for us to do in a moment when we're not doing it is we mamish need to stop and say and accept and know that there's a value to this moment that is so beyond what you're doing. It's a moment of being. And that is very special. And that's what happens on Purim. On Purim, once again, we're leaving the normal consciousness, the normal way of functionality, where even when we tap into this idea in our mind, we don't speak it out loud and we definitely don't act on it. On Purim, we begin to listen to the Megillah. Lishmaya Mikra Megillah, we're hearing, we're experiencing the story of how physicality, how a story of this world is really all being Megala Elikos. It's really all just revealing Hashem in every single aspect. And this is mamish the story of Megillah. And Chavra, this is why the Megillah, Mem Gimel Yud Lamed Hey, is Gematria 88 equals 88. What's 88? 88 is 3 times the name Yud, Hey, and a Vav and a Hey. And what's those 3 times? We know that everything is divided into threes, right? You have machshava, dibur, and maisa, right? Thought, speech, and action. You have the world of neshama, ruach, and nefesh. We have all the different, everything is divided into threes. Chesed, gevura, tiferes, chachma, bina, das, netzach, hod, yesod. Right? Everything is divided into threes. And those 3 havayas is one on the right, and one on your left, and one in front of you. The one on the right is mamish when you're having like the best moment. It's like so high, everything is good. Mamish, it's havaya. And when you're mamish having a bad moment, you look to your left and you go, oh, it's also havaya. It's also yud ke vav ke. It's the same one. And then you look in front of you and you see that mamish, the whole story was written yud, hey, and vav ke. It was always Hashem. It was always Hashem in every single moment. There never was a moment without him. And that's supposed to be our kavanah when we're going to hear the Megillah. We go hear the Megillah, and your mamish tuning in and you're listening to the Megillah, and you just hear the story. And you know something, you also tune into your story when you're by the Megillah. Maybe you're having the highest, holiest moment, or maybe your mamish having just like a stinky moment. That's all part of your story. Don't expect a high moment because the real Giloy, the real revelation of Hashem on Purim is in all the funky moments, right? Is in the moments when you don't see God at first straight out. Just hang in there. Hang in there and just know, Gevalt, this is also part of my story. I'm just going to listen to it. I'm just going to experience it. I'm going to wait for it until it finally it's ready for its ultimate revelation. And don't worry if when you go to Megillah you're hungry or hangry and you're cranky and maybe there's kids that are annoying and maybe they're going too fast or they're going too slow or they're letting you bang or they're not letting you bang, whatever it is, just open to the story, open to the experience of the Megillah. So let's pause here, just make sure that we're all on board. Any thoughts or questions, and then we can mamish take it into the next stage. All right, again, thumbs up.
All good. All good.
All good. Ah, Maradik. I want to share Reb Itche Mayer Morgenstern. I think I heard this originally from him. I believe so. But I've definitely seen it in his writings, seen it from others. But in the Kabbalah, there's 3 ways of, so to speak, when the light comes down. Okay. Well, one way is called the Or Pnimi, one's called the Or Makif, and one's called the Kli. The Or Pnimi is the inner light, right? It's the light that mamish comes straight in. It's like pure inner light. Or makif is when you're experiencing the light as it's not fully in, but it's kind of like around you. It's like a halo. It's like you're kind of getting it, but you're kind of not. It's kind of just it's like the energy. You're in the experience, but you're not like lit up with it. And then the kli is when it's just a vessel that's there to receive the light. And a little secret is that even the kli, even the vessel, is also made up of light, but the light is just gotten so physical that it looks like a vessel, which is holding like the raw, beautiful light. What's the secret of these three types of experience? Is that in any moment when you want to serve Hashem, let's call it Purim, and it comes on Purim, there's 3 ways that you might be experiencing this awareness of Hashem that He mamish runs the whole world. The first experience is we call the Ar Pnimi. It's your mamish alive. You're like, wow, Hashem mamish runs everything. I see it. I believe it. I smell it. I can touch it. I can taste it. You're like flying and your mamish lifting with it. Every sip of wine that you have on Purim, your mamish thinking Hashem, your mamish everything that you run every single action. Every friend that you see, you mamish realize that even things that are annoying that are happening to you, your mamish mekabel ba'ava rabba, and you know Hashem Malaikal arts kavoidai leis asar panimine your mamish flying. That's like straight devekus or panimi. But sometimes maybe you'll show up the Purim and maybe you'll have moments on your Purim that you're just like, eh. Then you could be in the state of or makif, right? You're just kind of in the party. You know that Hashem is running the world, and you kind of in your mind you're like, I know everything is from Hashem, but you're not feeling it. It's not the experience that's so intense that it's making you jump off your seat and dance. Right? Purim is about like you're so alive with the reality that Hashem is mamish running every little thing that you're just jumping out of your seat and just going, ah, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I don't even die. Right? You're just like jumping and going crazy. And sometimes on Purim, you might not experience that, or any mitzvah. Sometimes you might have an experience where you're just kind of you're in the avira. You're like, I know that everything's from Hashem, but it's not making me get up and dance. That's called the armakif. And the last one is called the kli. That your mom is sitting there and you're like, I do not see that Hashem is running this world. I am in pain. I'm feeling stinky. I'm feeling it's like not working for me. And Gewalt. And you say, you know something, but I'm just gonna be a kli. Now, Chavra, what's important to remember is that whichever experience Hashem gives us, let's meet it. You gotta meet the moment with whatever the experience is that Hashem's giving you. If Hashem is mamish giving you a moment that your mamish lichtig, if Hashem's mamish giving you a moment that your mamish lichtig, beseder, fly with it. If Hashem's giving you a moment that you're not lichtig, but at least you have the awareness, so experience it. Because no, that's called the ar makif. It's also a way that we need to experience reality. And if you mamish, I love it. I love the ben hapachu. And if you mamish, if you're mamish in a moment of experience that you don't see it, you don't feel it, and you don't smell it, you just kind of like believe it maybe a little bit, then know that that's mamish building kalim. And I'll tell you the truth, I really don't know which one's the highest. Some people from the outside might look at it and they'll say, the guy who's mamish flying high and he's like riding on Iris and he's dancing his head off, you say he's mamish the highest. But I don't know. I don't know if he's mamish the highest. Because you know something? I like to say this, and I brought this up many times. Husband and wife. What's the higher experience? Is the higher experience of true love expressed when they're mamish like having such a great date and they're sitting on the couch and they're having the best schmooze and their eyes are mamish looking into each other and they're like mamish so holy, and so in love? Or is the highest moment mamish when they're having a tough day and maybe they're fighting a little bit, but each one is doing for the other? The husband's going and doing the dishes because she's mamish not in the mood of doing the dishes, and she's mamish going and making dinner even though she's not in the mood of making dinner, but they're doing it for each other because they love each other even though they don't feel it. I don't know which one's higher, but I'll tell you this: a marriage that doesn't have both, if your whole marriage is just doing things when you're for each other even though you're not excited about being with each other, then what kind of marriage is that? And if your marriage is only about mamish being so like madly in love with each other, then what kind of marriage is that? It's not going to be able to handle the dark times. The true relationship is the one that's able to have both. It's able to have the oros, it's able to have the licht, it's able to have that amazing experience of dvekus and connection, but it's also able to have the moments of downs. And which moments should we choose? It's not about choosing. It's about meeting the moment that Hashem gives you. Whatever Hashem gives us. And it's back to the other question, is how should I experience my moments, my good or bad moments? Should I do good things? The answer is that if you're in a moment that you could do good things, Gaval, do good things. But if you find that you're not able to, then accept that. And know that, mamash, whatever moment Hashem wants you to have, that's the moment that he's going to send you. And that's the moment that we need to have. And that's the moment that we need to meet. We need to meet the moment to be able to come to that moment and not be scared off by it. Don't be scared off by how high it is or by how seemingly low it is. It's just about meeting it with full on open arms. And that's mamish what Mordechai says to Esther. That who knows which moment you were sent here for. But ulai la'es kazai sigat l'malchus. Maybe it's for this moment that you mamish are here in this world. Maybe you mamish came down to this world just to see how you're going to meet this moment. It's not about how much you actually do, because Gaval, doing is all in Hashem's hands. Either Hashem can make us successful or he can make us unsuccessful. Either we, like, really, am I really the one who's choosing if I can keep Shabbos? I can do my best, but Gavalt, I need this Yata Deshmaya. But the one thing I could do is meet the moment that Hashem gives me. Yo, Shmuel, you wanted to share something?
No, I was just pointing up.
Wow.
Thank you for all this.
So now let's take it into the mitzvahs of Purim. So the first mitzvah is mamish to go and hear the Megillah. And like we said, whether you have a high listening, a low listening, whatever it is, but meet it. And know that mamish, the shefa is coming down. If you don't feel anything, just believe that you're a kli. And know that on Purim, we're mamish bringing this energy, this awareness that Hashem does everything. It's flowing down into you. Next step is when mamish by Megillah, in between, maybe when they're banging or if you're waiting for it to get started, just grab yourself for a moment and just remind yourself, Hashem, I'm here, and I wanna receive that awareness that everything is mamish only you. And as I'm listening to the whole crazy story of the Megillah, I mamish just want to get open to the awareness that in mamish it's all just you, no matter what happens. And like we said, sometimes mamish, the main moment is, it doesn't seem so geshmak right away, but the iris will come down. The iris will come down at the right time. Just hang in there. Know that it's good. That's stage one. Stage two is the Suda of Purim, right? Even though really we should get into, we'll get into Shlech Manas Matanas Avyanim in a minute. Stage two is the Suda of Purim. By the Suda of Purim, you sit with your friends, you sit with your chavraya, you sit with your family, whoever it is that you're sitting with by the Purim Suda. And by the tzaddikim teach us that when we're eating food, we're mamish bringing down the highest energy. There's something called Oras Haratzon, the light or the enlightening of Hashem's Ratzon. It's when the Ratzon of Hashem begins to be Miskala, begin to see the light of his Ratzon. Let's go slow. We mentioned before that during the year, we do a mitzvah. Let's say you do the mitzvah of putting on tefillin. So what happens when you do the mitzvah of putting on tefillin? First of all, you have to choose to do the mitzvah. And what are we saying? We're saying that Hashem, in this moment, he wants me to put on tefillin. So I sit back and I go, Hashem, you're above this whole world, and your mamish, you're so infinite. So I don't even know really what you want. And the truth is, if not for Har Sinai and Matan Torah, I mamish wouldn't dare to think that I know what's going on in your mind. But you told me to put on tefillin, so please let this action of putting on tefillin, that's revealing you in this world and in this moment, in this finite experience, let it mamish connect to your infinity. And that's what we say, mamish, I want to connect this finite moment with your infinity that's so big, that's so high. But Chevra, on Purim, we're not limiting Hashem's infinity to one finite moment. We're saying, Hashem, I will know that in this moment, you're so big that nothing that I could possibly think I'm supposed to do could encompass you. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to let go of me. Because all other times, I'm always holding on to me, but I'm trying to do a little bit of what you want. Hashem, when it comes Purim, I'm just going to let go of me. I'm going to drink until I'm drunk like a skunk, because I'm going to let go of my mind. My mind that only knows how to handle the good moments, that if it was up to me, I would ditch all the bad moments, that I only know how to handle the good characters in the story. I don't know what to do with the bad ones. I don't know how to handle even my dark side. I don't even know what to do with the part of Yehuda race when he feels bad, when he's struggling. I don't know what to do with that Yehuda. I feel horrible. I feel pain, and I try to hide from it. I run away from it. But Chevra on Purim, everything becomes revealed, and we say, Hashem, I don't know how to accept me, but you know how to love me. And every drink of wine, you say, I'm letting go of me, and I'm oozing into bittul. I'm oozing into a hug from Hashem. I'm just gonna flat out every drink that you're sitting there, and sometimes when you're so drunk and your body's just like buzzing, and you're like, and you just let it go, and you just say, Hashem, I'm yours. I'm yours. I'm just yours. Every sip of wine, when you make that hagafen on Purim, just know that you're mamish with Hashem. Every bit of eating, that's what this ha'aras haratzon that is open normally by every meal that you eat during the year, but by the Purim Suda, the ha'aras haratzon is crazy. You're mamish opening up the ratzon, and that's why we mamish just let go of ourselves and just completely open ourselves to just have Hashem's ratzon come down. And it's a tough thing to do. And let me tell you, normally we're not even allowed to do this because it's such a level of bittul that we're not supposed to behave this way. But comes Purim, we mamish let go. I have to share with you, I saw a gorgeous Ben Yayada this morning. The Ben Yayada says, he says the Gemara, there's a Gemara in Maseches Megillah that says that on Purim, they were having Rabbah and Reb Zera were having a Purim Suda together. And they both got drunk. Come Rabbah got up, v'shachti le Zera, and he killed Reb Zera. And everybody goes crazy, like he killed him. It says the next morning, he did Tchias HaMesim on him. He revived him, he brought him back to life. And they were showing him all the hawk, does he have to remarry his wife? Because, if he died, that ends the marriage. Like all sorts of crazy questions, and there's great stuff. The Ben Yayada says, what's going on with this Kam Rabba Shachtel Rab Zera? Like, what actually happened? I got to read you this piece. I'm going to mamish bring it up because it's so gorgeous. So gorgeous. Oh, he says like this. He says that it's not that he shechted him with a knife, God forbid. It's that they were learning Torah. And that when you learn Torah, when you learn these ideas that are so high, that are mamish so filled with simcha, that it just was drawing him so deeply that Pashut, his nefesh, just left his body and just connected with the Sodos HaTorah that he was learning. He just was like, that's it. Like, I can't be held back by my physicality anymore. I am an experience. I am a being of awareness. I am a being of light. And I want to connect with these Torahs that I'm learning, not on a physical way, but let it all go. And that's what Shachtel Rab Zera, that there's a lashon he brings down. It's called Zahav Shachut. Like, I just want to be like pure. I want to be just let go. I don't want to be held back by all of these things, this body that's holding on to me. Just let go of me. And so mamish at that moment, Reb Zera just went flying high. And like Imamish was the Torah that Rabbah said just blasted him to the next world. And the next day, Imamish, you find he came down, but Imamish brought him to another level. And that's what's going on Purim, is that we have to know that we're tapping in to having bittul with HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the highest of levels. And that's where we're going. That's mamish. This is what it means. And Chevra, every sip of wine, every little sip of wine that you're drinking, you mamish got to do it. And I'll tell you, this avodah, the lo pashut, you should know on another level, the Purim experience is one that tests us, and it measures us up how we've been for the last year. And that's why it's a scary moment for many people, because when you drink, we see, are you an angry drunk? Am I a sad drunk, a happy drunk? What happens? What comes out? And you know something, whatever the experience is, know that it's an experience that we need to have, because it brings it to the forefront. But it can be a little bit shocking sometimes to see what's really going on inside of us. It could be a little bit scary and painful and frightening even to see what's really going to come out. And it measures us up. And that's why we have to do preparations. We got to prepare ourselves. Start thinking, what does it mean that I'm going to give up my mind on Purim? And that's why Purim Dafka has a Tainus Esther right before it, because you need that fast day to prepare yourself. You need that fast day to really prepare for a wild experience before you go for a very, very intense, you know, and wild psychedelic experience. You might want to do a cleanse first. And that's a really important thing. And that's what's going on. We're about to go into this crazy, psychedelic, mind blowing experience called Purim. Let's do a little preparation. So, Chevra, for the next week, saying a little Tehillim, davening to Hashem, opening ourselves up, listening to the experience that we have when we're doing the mitzvahs, and obviously doing a little fasting on Tainus Esther, getting us ready for this holy, 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 holy day. As mamish, that it can take us very high, but you should know it also can be a churban. It also is a dangerous day, right? Moments of intimacy can be very high, but they also can cut like a knife. It's a very vulnerable place. Okay, that's we spoke about now about the Megillah, and we spoke about the Suda. Let's quickly talk about we're going to talk about Matanas Levyonim and Mishloach Manos. So Matanas Levyonim, Itche Mayer Morgenstern says, he says, gorgeous. He says, every day of the year you have a mitzvah to give tzedakah. What's so special about Matanas Levyonim? So if we look at the halacha is, the halacha tells us that kol poshet yad, anybody who stretches out his hand on Purim, you give him. And it's a funny thing because normally during the year, when you give tzedakah, you should make a cheshbon. How much money do I need to give? Who should I give it to? You need to use your head, right? You need to use your das. You don't just trust that Hashem runs the whole world. Hashem says, no, make sure that you give tzedakah to an ani hagun, to people that need it. Make sure that you choose which organizations you're giving your money to. When it comes on Purim, what are we saying? What's the kavanah that we're having for Purim? Is bittul, letting go. Hashem, you mamish run the world. So when it comes to that, we say any person who puts out his hand, just give him money. But maybe I'm not giving it to somebody who's deserving. Chevra, Hashem runs the world. And on Purim is the one day a year that we mamish allow that consciousness to fill every part of us. And we mamish say, Hashem, you're gonna put the people in front of me that are gonna stick out their hand. And if they're in front of me, I'll reach into my pocket, I'm gonna pull out a coin, and I'm gonna give it to them. That's mamish matanas levyanim. And what's mamish mishloach manos? So I'll tell you this. I know for me that sometimes I can get into an avodah and I could think I'm getting so holy, but Gevalt, all I'm doing is feeding my ego. All I'm doing is serving myself. And it's so dangerous. How does a person know if he's really serving God or if he's really just fooling himself along with everybody else? And the answer is our chaverim. That we use, and it's a dangerous thing because nothing ever really knows. And the truth is we don't really know. Sometimes you might bump into somebody and his mamish living crazy, and maybe his mamish doing the holiest thing. But for me and for my friends, the checks and balances that we use is we balance ourselves off of our friends. We allow our friends when they turn to us and they say, "Hey, brother, how and you say, "Do you think this is healthy? Do you think I'm doing all right? Give me some feedback. Be my mirror. Reflect back to me." And on Purim, you might have this crazy, crazy, crazy Yom Tov, but you don't forget about your chaverim. You mamish got to do every single day of the year. You got to do v'hafta l'reacha kamaycha. But on Purim, you mamish go and you start sending things. You show that these relationships, that it's not that the world is not about Yehuda race and God. It's about Am Yisrael and Hashem. It's about us. It's about all of us uniting together, being machaber together, connecting ourselves with each other, seeing each other beyond the mask, not judging people on face value, but really looking at people in a deep way, in an authentic way, and asking them and saying, "Hey, how you really doing? I'm here for you. Let's get drunk together. Let's get crazy. But mamish, I need you and you need me." And that's why it's back to the Suda, right? Remember we said the Suda should be done with hopefully with a friend and hopefully with some family. That way you can be able to connect up. Obviously, sometimes we end up at parties and we don't know anybody there, and that's also mamish a beautiful avodah. But if we could do it with our friends, if we could do it with a little family, matovu manaim. Ezem, hine matovu manaim, shevet achim gam yachad. Mamish, to be with your friends and to be able to lift each other up. And you know, even with our best friends, there are always sometimes things that annoy us about them. And on Purim, we mamish look at our friends, you look around the table, you pick up your wine glass and you look around and you go, whatever they could do to me for good or for bad, they're just a stick in the hand of God. Every experience that I'm supposed to have, Hashem is going to send to me. Everything that's coming down, Zerak me Hashem Yisparach. Hashem is the one who's giving it to me. He's the one who's sending it to me. He's the one who's talking to me. And we just got to open it up. And this is Mamish Purim, is we got to close our eyes and say, Istachaltev elavolim einoid milvado. Istachaltev elavolim einoid milvado. Mamish, that everything else, it's all just a story. It's just a story. And Hashem is here. Hashem is there. Hashem is mamish everywhere. And through Mikabel, all from Hashem. Be'ezrat Hashem. L'chaim, 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 l'chaim. And by the way, this year it's mamish crazy with the Purim Shulash. You know, people that are outside Yerushalayim, you got to remember that your Purim doesn't end on Purim. Purim, Purim of Mukafin, the Yerushalayim Purim, Shushan Purim, is got to be an avodah for everybody. You got to bring it in, no matter where you are in the world. You got to bring in that second day. It's a day for you to bring these crazy high ideas and bring it into your daily life. And the Yerushalayim Chevra, your mamish got to do an extra day. Your mamish have Shushan Purim, which is so high. You got to mamish prepare a second day. You prepare on Tainus Esther, and then you prepare again on the first day of Purim. But this year, everything is mixed up. Friday is Purim for everybody, and Shabbos is mamish Purim for everybody. Crazy. You know, my son's getting bar mitzvah this coming week, and I turned to my brother-in-law. I said, you know, what's the pshat? Like, what if a kid, his birthday is on the 15th of Adar? Which day does he keep? And he told me, he said, you know, it's crazy, but on a year that it falls out on Shabbos Purim, he would lane, that there are some shitas that say that he should lane Megillah on Shabbos. Because it's a gzera d'Rabbanan to only do it on Friday. And a milsa de leishchicha, an unusual situation, like Gazar Barabanan. The Rabbanan weren't Geyser on it. So therefore, he should do it on Shabbos. He should read Megillah. Some say that he shouldn't, that it was already pushed off to the day before. But some say no, that because really Friday is just a hashlama for Shabbos. It's just a way of, because you can't do it on Shabbos. But for this kid, he couldn't do it on Friday. So he should do it on Shabbos. But it's so crazy. It's so crazy. This whole story is crazy. And then there's going to be Purim on Sunday again. So, Chevra, let's open it up. We mamish have 3 days. You know, 3 days, like we said before. You look to the right, you see Yud Kei Vav Kei. You look to the left, you see Yud Kei Vav Kei. You look to the front, you see Yud Kei Vav Kei. The Chut HaMeshulish, Leib Meheri Yunatek. A 3-ply string. We say it about the avos. The 3 avos, the 3-ply of the avos, mamish takes a long time for it to be broken. It's not quickly broken. And Chevra, this Purim is a 3-ply Purim. A 3-day Purim, loy b'mehere yinatek. It will not very quickly be broken. And that awareness, this awareness of Purim is the awareness of Yimotza Mashiach and La'asad Lavai. It's an awareness that everything is from Hashem. An acceptance that Hashem Mamish runs every aspect of our life. And that is Mamish, the awareness of La'asad Lavai. So I bless us that we should Mamish fly high this Purim. And we should be able to meet the moments, whatever moment, a high moment, or Panimi moment, an Armakif moment, or a Kli moment. We should be able to do and meet the moment the way Hashem wants us to meet it. To let go of the way we think the world should be run and accept Hashem's Ratzon. To let go of my story and recognize that I'm part of Hashem's story. And then when Hashem says, so, Nu, what are you dressing up like? I bless us that we should be able to dress up in Torah and mitzvahs. Ashrei Ishe Yishmal Mitzvah Terasai Udevarcha Yasim Ali, but the words of Hashem, the Torah of Hashem, and the words we put on our heart, and we allow the experience to generate. We allow the story to change us. We allow the experience of serving Hashem to take us to Geula, to Yemais Mashiach. L'chaim, l'chaim.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Amazing.
Shkoyach. Any thoughts or questions?
Wow. Okay, I didn't realize
Yeah.
that.
Can we bottle you up and take you around every day?
Amen. If you only knew what
Yeah.
else was going on inside of me. You're lucky you only get a little taste, because if you got too much, it might not be, you might see all the dark sides of me.
It's not true. We all have it, and we can all handle it.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a great
Wow.
Shabbos. Enjoy.
Good Shabbos.
Look forward to next week.
Amen. I don't think we're meeting next week, because next week is going to be Purim
Oh,
already.
that's right. That's right. He just
So-
Red Labich just said maybe not next week.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
better
mamish
be for him.
Afreilach and Purim. I wish that we could see. I don't know if either of you are coming out to Beit Shemesh. It would be awesome. And next week I'm also making a bar mitzvah, and Shabbos I'm doing my son's bar mitzvah next week. So it's going to be Purim and Shabbos and bar mitzvah. So please pray for me that it should work out.
Amazing.
Pray for you.
Amazing.
Just saying, before you guys get off,
It will.
I'm going to stop the recording. But can we